Hey guys, it's Chris again, and today's video I wanted to talk about something I've been thinking about a lot the last few months, particularly in slightly different contexts. And that's this concept of transactional versus transformational relationships. And I've realized it really embodies what I've been doing with patients for a number of years, what I've been teaching other chiropractors to do, and really one of the core essences of patient-centered care. But it also goes beyond that. So it's a very, very quick run through. A transactional relationship is one where I'm going to give you something if you give me something. You go into a shop, it's a transaction. I'm going to give you some money, I'm going to take this item of clothing, whatever it might be. But this is a state that most chiropractors spend their time in with their patients. Ultimately, when we're explaining care, when we're explaining a plan, there's some sort of communication around, you're going to give me this money, and I'm going to give you this much treatment. Or I'm going to give you XYZ, whatever else it might be, whether that's ice pack supplements. But you set up the relationship as transactional. And that's okay. But the problem with a transactional relationship is that it works in a shop because there's a set value. They say this top is worth this much. But when it comes to our care, that perceived value can change quite a bit. And transactional relationships generally set themselves up so a really good one, the person feels like, oh, I got a good deal. Most of them are fairly average. Oh, well, I got what I paid for, so that's that. And you're open to it not going well, where somebody feels like they didn't get what they paid for. And this will set up resentment and barriers to care and things like that. A transformational relationship, on the other hand, what's happening here is that you're saying, we're going to work together, and we're going to work together to transform some element of your life. And it's almost like you're coming around to their side of the table, putting an arm around them and saying, we're going to help you and guide you. And that's the core part of the relationship. That is a much more patient-centered way to work. It's a much more fulfilling way to practice as a DC. And patients, when they feel that, really feel like you're taking care of them. They really see the value in what you do beyond just getting a certain amount of treatment for a certain price there. So I highly, highly recommend having a think about that and thinking about how do you communicate, whether it's a transaction or a transformation. Think about this and see where maybe your messaging, your communication is based around one or the other. I would really recommend the transaction model. The transformational model. I think it's much more inspiring. Those are the patients who are going to go out and give you great reviews, lots of referrals as well. And in my experience, they get better results. It shifts the physiology as well there. So in that context, it really works. But I've also been thinking about this in the relationship we have with our colleagues and particularly associates. So most practices, for example, they set the relationship up as a transactional one. I'm going to give you new patients and a front desk team and a clinic and all the lights are on, the admin's done, whatever it is. You're going to give me a percentage of your income. And hopefully this hasn't happened to you, but it's common enough that it probably has, or if not, it's happened to people you know, where that relationship has soured because one side feels the other isn't doing their fair share. And that's where things can tip over, and then you end up practice owners resentful that the associates aren't doing their weight, they're not doing a good enough job, they're not trying, they're not helping the practice, or associates who are resentful feeling like they're giving up a large percentage of their income and they're not getting much support, much help in return there. So having a transformational relationship with the people you work with is also really powerful. And I can say this as the lead DC in our practice. I now really make sure to spell this out for our associates. I had this conversation with our newest associate who joined a couple of months ago. I said to her, this relationship works really well when it is a transformational one. I want you, as a consequence of us working together, to transform into the best version of a chiropractor you could possibly be. That's what I want to help you do. We're going to have mentoring, we're going to have support, all those things. But it's not so that you can earn the practice more money, you can see more numbers, blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff's secondary. My main goal is to transform you into the best version you can be, because that offers a lot more value to an associate rather than, okay, I'll give you X money, you give me X hours of your life in terms of work or things like that. So have a think about this. If you're a clinic owner, think about how maybe are you communicating a transaction or a transformational relationship as well. And try and put some of this stuff into practice. Think about how you could maybe change that, how you could maybe shift the messaging, shift the way you communicate, even the way you look at these relationships. Because I can guarantee you that a transformational one, both people feel like they got way more out of it and they got way more value than a transactional one where it's always a bit of a zero-sum game. And as always, any questions on any of this stuff, let me know. Otherwise, we'll be back soon for another video. Take care, guys.